Good morning, everyone. A beautiful morning from our beautiful Cairo. It's my pleasure and honor to be with you here today. My name is Khaled Habib, Dr. Khaled Habib, and I will be accompanying you for the first half of the day today in one, in my personal opinion, of the most important and crucial and valuable events that will take place for the Mediterranean. Everyone. A beautiful morning from the whole region in the Cairo. Period. It's my pleasure and honor to be with you here today. My name is Khaled Habib, Dr. Khaled Habib, and I will be accompanying you for the first half of the day today in one, in my personal opinion, of the most important and crucial and valuable events that will take place for... Okay. So, first of all, let me apologize. I know there were some technical issues in the morning. It's still the different world we're living in today with the COVID, post-COVID, and we don't know how long it's going to stay. So lots of people online, lots of people having difficulties coming to the place and so on. So we do apologize for this. But I can assure you that the value you're going to get from these 4 days is going to be tremendous. We have with us on our agenda very important topics to discuss. We've got lots of senior experts in different areas, and we've got real minds that we're going to cover every part of the value chain. Let's remember this part. We're going to be talking about everything related to the whole value chain about energy. So meetMED, it's a week, and this week it's all about energy. It's all about renewable energy. So it's a great event. It's organized totally by RICRI. Today, what we're doing over here is all about switching to clean energy. And it's all about tackling every component of the value chain. We're talking about policies, we're talking about best practices, we're talking about people capability, capacity building, we're talking about changing on the ground, we're talking about practical programs that will tackle and address the most difficult sectors, whether it's home appliances or building or whatever. And we have our experts to tell us how it has been done, the best practices, what can be done, how can we learn from each other across the Mediterranean countries altogether. Let me not waste time and start straight away with our very senior speakers and guests today. Our starting session, let me just tell you how the days will run. So we're going to go through different activities. We're starting right now with the welcome speeches, and let me first invite our dear Executive Director, the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, the RICRI, Jawad Al-Kharaz, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Khalid. With your permission, I will deliver my message in Arabic. صباح الخير، سعادة المهندسة جميلة مطر، رئيس قسم الطاقة في جامعة الدول العربية، معالي السفير كريستيان بيرجر، رئيس الوفد الاتحاد الأوروبي في مصر، معالي قنصل الجمهورية البلغارية إيفالو ستويلوف، سعادة الدكتور جورجيو غراديتي، رئيس الاتحاد المتوسطي لوكالات الطاقة، الوكالات الوطنية لحفظ الطاقة ميدينير، سعادة المهندسة مها مصطفى، رئيسة اللجنة التنفيذية في ريكري، ممثلة عن جمهورية مصر العربية ووكيل وزارة الكهرباء والطاقة المجددة المصرية سابقا. الدكتور أحمد البلطاجي اعتذر هذا الصباح، حدث له حالة وفاة، خالص التعازي له ولعائلته. أصحاب المعالي السفراء، ممثل البعثة الدبلوماسية في جمهورية مصر العربية، السيدات والسادة الحضور الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إنه لمن دواعي فخري وسروري أن أفتتح أول نسخة من أسبوع المشروع الإقليمي ميتمد 2 هنا في قاهرة المعز في جمهورية مصر العربية باسم المركز الإقليمي للطاقة المتجددة وكفاءة الطاقة ريكري واتحاد البحر الأبيض المتوسط للوكالات الوطنية لحفظ الطاقة ميدينير. إنه لمن دواعي فخري وسروري أن أفتتح أول نسخة من أسبوع المشروع الإقليمي ميتمد 2 هنا في قاهرة المعز في جمهورية مصر العربية باسم المركز الإقليمي للطاقة المتجددة وكفاءة الطاقة ريكري واتحاد البحر الأبيض المتوسط للوكالات الوطنية لحفظ الطاقة ميدينير. إنه لمن دواعي نرحب بجميع الشركاء والضيوف الأعزاء الذين حضروا من مصر وخارج مصر من كل البلدان المشاركة في المشروع، من تونس والجزائر والمغرب ولبنان والأردن وفلسطين ومصر وليبيا، فضلا عن ضيوفنا من شمال المتوسط والعالم. ونشكر الاتحاد الأوروبي وممثليه على دعمهم لمشروع ميتمد وحرصهم على دعم التعاون في مجالات الطاقة والتخفيف من أثر التغيرات المناخية في دول جنوب شرق البحر الأبيض المتوسط. كما نغتنم الفرصة لشكر جمهورية مصر العربية على استضافة المركز ودعمه من خلال وزارة الكهرباء والطاقة المتجددة التي ما فتئت تدعم أنشطتنا وجهودنا في مجالات الطاقة المتجددة وكفاءة الطاقة والحد من تأثير التغيرات المناخية منذ تأسيس المركز عام 2008. والمركز الإقليمي للطاقة المتجددة وكفاءة الطاقة ريكري منظمة دولية ذات صفة دبلوماسية تسعى إلى تفعيل وزيادة الاستفادة من ممارسات الطاقة المتجددة وكفاءة الطاقة في المنطقة العربية. كذلك يعد المركز الذراع الفني لإدارة الطاقة جميع الدول العربية والمجلس الوزاري العربي للكهرباء، ويسعى فريق المركز بالتعاون مع الحكومات والمنظمات الدولية ومؤسسات التمويل الدولية والقطاع الخاص عن طريق الشراكات المختلفة لبدء وتوجيه حوارات سياسات الطاقة المستدامة واستراتيجياتها وتقنياتها وتطوير قدراتها وإدارة منصات لتسهيل استثمارات الطاقة المتجددة وكفاءة الطاقة لزيادة حصة الدول العربية من طاقة الغاز. السيدات والسادة الحضور، في نهاية عام 2018 نجح المركز الإقليمي للطاقة المتجددة وكفاءة الطاقة ريكري بالتعاون مع اتحاد البحر الأبيض المتوسط للوكالات الوطنية لحفظ الطاقة ميدينير في الحصول على ثقة المفوضية الأوروبية إدارة التعاون مع دول الجوار ديجينير لتنفيذ مشروع تكميل أو تمكين الانتقال الطاقي في منطقة المتوسط من خلال إجراءات التخفيف البيئية ميتميد. وامتد المشروع على مدى سنة ونصف لدعم التعاون الإقليمي وبناء القدرات الفنية لتمكين الانتقال الطاقي في دول جنوب وشرق البحر الأبيض المتوسط من خلال تعزيز حصة مصادر الطاقة المتجددة وتطوير الآليات كفاءة الطاقة ضمن مزيج الطاقة الخاصة بهم. وبعد نجاح المرحلة الأولى بدأ المشروع في المرحلة الثانية السنة الماضية بهدف تعزيز أمن الطاقة للدول المستهدفة وهي الجزائر، مصر، الأردن، لبنان، ليبيا، المغرب وفلسطين وتونس، وانتقالها إلى اقتصاد يعتمد على الطاقة النظيفة مما يساهم في خلق مجتمعات واقتصادات مستقرة وفعالة وتنافسية ومقاومة للتغير المناخي. ويعمل مشروع ميتميد في المرحلة الثانية الممتدة حتى عام 2024 على تشجيع ودفع تنفيذ تدابير كفاءة الطاقة وتحسين مزيج الطاقة في دول المشروع مع التركيز على قطاع المباني والأجهزة المنزلية. ويعتمد المشروع على تعزيز التعاون الإقليمي من خلال دعم الشراكات على المستوى المحلي والإقليمي في مختلف القطاعات. وتنعقد هذه النسخة الأولى من أسبوع ميتميد من اليوم إلى غاية 31 في الشهر، وهي الأولى في سلسلة مؤتمرات الطاقة الإقليمية السنوية التي تنظمها ميدينير وريكري بدعم الاتحاد الأوروبي، وتعقد نسخة هذا العام تحت شعار معا نحو مبان وأجهزة كفء في منطقة البحر الأبيض المتوسط، من خلال موضوعات 4: الاستثمار في الطاقة المستدامة، الإجراءات المتضافرة على المباني، الإجراءات المتضافرة على الأجهزة، وتتبع أو مراقبة أو تتبع كفاءة الطاقة. أصحاب المعالي السيدات والسادة الحضور الكريم، يعيش العالم منعطفا حرجا سيكون له أثر كبير على التوجهات الدولية وخاصة في قطاع الطاقة. الأزمة في شرق أوروبا خيمت بظلالها الثقيلة على اقتصادية العالم وأججت أسعار الوقود والمواد الأساسية وزادت من تفاقم الضائقة الاقتصادية التي بدأت مع جائحة كورونا، ولم تعطي الأزمة للعالم فرصة لالتقاط أنفاسه. وسيدفع الوضع في شرق أوروبا لا محالة دول العالم إلى إعادة التفكير في التحول نحو استخدام مصادر متجددة لإنتاج الكهرباء باعتبارها ضرورة ملحة وليس ترفا، كما تسلط الضوء على صواب رؤية الاتحاد الأوروبي من خلال دعم مشاريع التعاون الإقليمية كمشروع ميتميد. من جهة أخرى تستضيف كما تعلمون مصر هذه السنة مؤتمر الأطراف لاتفاق الأمم المتحدة للمناخ لتغير المناخ كوب 27، وستكون فرصة ليس فقط لمصر لكن كل دول المنطقة لتسليط الأضواء على مجهوداتها لتخفيف من التأثيرات التغيرات المناخية، خاصة وقد أضحى الإسراع باعتماد ممارسة الفضلة في مجال الكفاءة الطاقية أمرا حتميا بالنسبة للمجتمع الدولي في ظل الطابع الطارئ للتغيرات المناخية، وكذلك باعتبار الكفاءة الطاقية مجالا جديرا بالتطوير نحو انتقال طاقوي ناجح على المستوى العالمي وفي منطقتنا المتوسطية. كما أنه معلوم أن الطاقة المتجددة تستأثر بالقسط الأكبر من الاستثمارات، فيما تتطلب الكفاءة الطاقية قسطا أكبر بكثير من الاستثمارات، خصوصا وأنها ذات أثر بيئي مباشر ومردودية اقتصادية مهمة للغاية. فكفاءة الطاقة كما تعلمون هي الوقود الأول، لكنها تظل أصعب في التجارة لأنك لا تستطيع قياسها مثل الكهرباء أو أن تزنها مثل الفحم أو تبيعها بالبرميل مثل النفط. ويمثل استخدام الطاقة في المباني كما يقرب من ثلث استهلاك الطاقة العالمية، ويمثل ما يقرب من 20% من انبعاثات غازات الدفيئة. ومع تزايد عدد السكان والنمو السريع في القوة الشرائية في الاقتصادات الناشئة والعديد من البلدان المتوسطية، سيزداد الطلب على الطاقة في المباني بنسبة 50% بحلول 2050. ومن المتوقع أن تتضاعف مساحة الأرضية العالمية في المباني بأكثر من 415 مليار متر مربع بحلول عام 2050 حسب وكالة الطاقة الدولية. إن تحقيق كفاءة الطاقة في المباني والأجهزة المنزلية من شأنه أن يعود على المنطقة بمنافع اقتصادية وبيئية واجتماعية شتى، ومن ثم يجب اعتماد معايير الدنيا لأداء الطاقة تكون أكثر صرامة في المنتجات الكثيفة استهلاك الطاقة والشائعة الاستخدام في المباني، وفي مقدمتها أجهزة التكييف، وسن قوانين متكاملة لكفاءة استخدام الطاقة في المباني وإنفاذها أو تطبيقها على المباني الجديدة، والعمل على تحسين المباني القائمة وإعادة تجهيزها للحد من استهلاكها للطاقة، وإدماج نظم الطاقة المتجددة للتوصل إلى مبان غير مستهلكة للطاقة تقريبا. كل ذلك في حال تطبيق ما سبق، فإن تحديد هدف تخفيض الاستهلاك النهائي للطاقة في قطاع المباني والأجهزة المنزلية في المنطقة العربية بنسبة تصل إلى 5% بحلول 2030 سيصبح ممكن الحدوث، ومن ثم من الضروري اعتماد قوانين المباني تأخذ بعين الاعتبار كل التشريعات والتطبيقات الخاصة بكفاءة الطاقة في المباني للالتزام بها في المدن والتجمعات السكنية التي يتم إنشاؤها تلبية للمد العمراني، والتي تبدأ من مرحلة التخطيط والتصميم المعماري وانتهاء باستلام الوحدات والأبنية وشغلها، مع اعتبار أفضل الممارسات والتكنولوجيات لتحقيق أهداف الاستراتيجيات والخطط الوطنية لكفاءة الطاقة، خاصة في البلدان التي تكثر فيها أنشطة البناء كما في مصر مثلا، كما الحال في المنطقة العربية كلها وليس فقط في مصر. ويشكل وضع الشروط الخاصة بكفاءة استخدام الطاقة في المباني الجديدة وتطبيقها وإنفاذها النهج الأكثر فعالية للحد من استهلاك الطاقة في قطاع الأبنية والأجهزة المنزلية. أصحاب المعالي، سادة الحضور، سيعالج أسبوع ميتميد الأول مسألة تعزيز التعاون الإقليمي من أجل الطاقة والتحول المناخي في بلدان جنوب الشرق البحر المتوسط، وسيفتح المجال لجلسات عامة وحوارات رفيعة المستوى على مدار الأسبوع، ويجتمع فيها صناع السياسات والأوساط الأكاديمية والدبلوماسيون ووكالات الأمم المتحدة والمؤسسات المالية وممثلو المنظمات الإقليمية وخبراء الطاقة من المؤسسات العامة والخاصة ووسائل الإعلام لتبادل الخبرات وتدارس أفضل الممارسات وتحديد مجالات الشراكات والتعاون المحتملة. كما ستتم مناقشة استمرارية مشروعات كفاءة الطاقة بشكل عام وفي المباني بشكل خاص من خلال تطوير آليات تمويل مبتكرة من أجل تحفيز القطاع الخاص على الاستثمار في كفاءة استخدام الطاقة على نطاق واسع. وسيتم التطرق كذلك إلى أهمية تطوير قدرات مؤسساتها والقوى العاملة القوية وتنمية قدرات بشرية عاملين في مجال كفاءة الطاقة على جميع الأصعدة. في ختام كلمتي أتمنى لكم أسبوعا ناجحا ومثمرا. أشكر مرة أخرى الحكومة المصرية والاتحاد الأوروبي على الدعم الممنوح لمركزنا ومشروع ميتميد. شكر كذلك شركائنا في المشروع على رأس ميدينار والوكالات الوطنية لكفاءة الطاقة في الدول العربية. كما أشكر إدارة الطاقة في جميع الدول العربية ممثلة في المهندسة جميلة مطر رئيسة قسم إدارة الطاقة في جميع الدول العربية. أشكر على التعاون المثمر والمستمر وعلى الحضور. كما أغتنم الفرصة لتقديم خالص التهاني بمناسبة قرب حلول شهر رمضان الكريم. أعاد الله علينا وعليكم بالخير واليمن والبركات، وشكرا لكم. شكرا.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jawad Al-Kharraz, Executive Director for the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Decree. Some key points that I think we need to focus on from what you said, sir, right now. So we're talking about investment, and not the easiest of investments, because as you said, there's no direct or tangible return on investment for so many players. So that's one big challenge. Another challenge, we're tackling sectors that are extremely, let's say, dynamic in our part of the world, in this period, specifically the building and construction altogether, where lots of the major players are still playing it in the very traditional approach. So the switch without losing the inertia and the momentum is quite a challenge to convince all those players to convert to a different type of energy. That's going to be a major challenge. Talking about laws and bylaws and legislations, quite a challenge also. We're talking about some kind of regulating bodies, and in our part of the world, it's still, let's say it's a mixed bag, where the players play the same role sometimes as players in the market, as competitors, and at the same time as regulators. So we're definitely looking forward to great discussions that will shed light on these areas, build on the best practices in different areas. Now, let me leave the floor right now to another of these speakers. And that's going to be an online speech by Giorgio Graditi, the president of Mediterranean Association of the National Agencies for Energy Management, online right now. Please, sir. Can we go online?
Hi, good morning. Do you hear me? Good morning. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Good morning.
Morning, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, good morning. Thank to Dr. Alcaraz, and thank you to each and every one of you for attending the first meetMED week, hosted by our esteemed partner RICRI, that I would like to warmly thank for the excellent organization of this first event will be held in Cairo. Our will is that the meetMED weeks become a flagship event for the Mediterranean region, an ideal place for an high-level policy dialogue where policymakers and the most relevant stakeholders will convene to exchange experience and discuss the next steps for the decarbonization of the region. In April 2018, within meetMED 1 project, we started building the regional network of experts from 14 Mediterranean countries to facilitate, to foster the path of the energy transition in the Mediterranean, since we had already experienced that together we could provide solutions to the main common challenges. Together, we retain that the most important challenge is energy transition in our region, with a particular focus on energy efficiency, energy technologies, renewable energy from the perspective of the energy security. This current international crisis could turn out to be the biggest supply crisis in decades. Global energy markets are at a crossroads. Energy security is back at the forefront of political agendas as commodity prices surge. So the international crisis has opened a period of strong volatility on the market of raw materials and fossil fuels, and the urgency, the need to continue our path has now become even more evident. Recent commitments by a number of governments to net zero emission targets have underlined both the need and the desire to rapidly reduce hydrocarbon consumptions. The energy sectors of all countries are facing a great challenge, a transition and continuous reduction in CO2 emissions, which is a challenge with no historical precedents and which involves all participants in the technological chain of energy management, all citizens and all economic entities. Societal pressure is visible increasing as policymakers, scientists, as well as environmental and citizen groups urge the need for radical change, and consumers start to make choices based on environmental as well as economic outcomes. Right now, new energy technologies, energy efficiency, capacity building, renewable energy, new energy carriers such as hydrogen, and smart sector integration are the lighthouses towards which we aim in facing the challenges of the energy transition for a decarbonized future energy system. With this regard, I would like to highlight that we all need to have a deeper look at the smart sector integration, that is the grounding concept underlining a successful transformation involving coordinated planning and operation of the electricity system with other mutually interacting systems. In fact, the smart sector integration aims to better link the different energy sectors, electricity, gas, buildings, transport, industry, and so on, to help them reduce carbon emissions. This means replacing fossil fuels with renewable electricity or with other renewable low carbon fuels where electrification is not possible, while ensuring that energy remains secure and affordable. This First meetMED week will show the importance of a qualified common approach, policymaker, national agency, and networks of experts to build concrete measures considering the differences between our countries, the need for interconnection in the wider interest of the Mediterranean region. We recognize that the challenge of clean energy production and energy efficiency and gas behind the emergence of this crisis. The meetMED week wanted to activate a high-level policy dialogue to share experience and initiatives to foster common vision and policies towards the decarbonization of the region, involving policymakers and stakeholders to draw up the concrete action and measures to be followed to reach the expected goals. Together, we will contribute to energy and climate transition in order to develop an efficient and a climate-resilient environment in southern Mediterranean countries. Being focused on financial instruments, energy efficiency policies, and measures for building and appliances, and the monitoring of energy efficiency indicators, thanks to their dedicated sessions, we expect to engage a permanent dialogue to stimulate the exchange of information and share good practice, improve the harmonization and monitoring of legislation, regulations, and standards in the sectors of building and appliances. We wish that the discussion among northern and southern Eastern Mediterranean countries will lead to strategic takeaway messages, new guidance documents, good practice, and roadmaps derived from each task force that will be incorporated into the meetMED week's proceedings to support the decision makers. Finally, I strongly encourage all the stakeholders to deliver strategic elements, comments for a common position for the decarbonization of the Mediterranean region to be presented at COP27, the next Climate Change Conference 2021 that will take place in Egypt from 7 to 18 November 2022. To conclude, a very warm welcome to every one of you, wishing you a very successful and fruitful meetMED week. Thank you very much for listening and enjoy the meeting and this conference. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Giorgio Graditi, President of the Mediterranean Association for the National Agencies for Energy Management. Some keywords again that we listen to right now from Giorgio. Number one, energy security. That's going to be a buzzword, and it's a challenge for everyone until we learn how to have our own, like, let's say, our reservoir of things, and we're still learning this field altogether. That's one challenge. Technology transfer, and it's an ongoing progressive process. It's not that the technology is going to be right now here, it's going to be stable as it is. It's a learning process, so we need to have somehow our own knowledge hub in our region, in our countries, and that's where the keyword, the other keyword, our scientists will play a major role over here. Capacity building, to apply all those things on the ground, we need to have a very clear model of how to build the capacity, transfer the know-how, and have generations of talents and talent pools that can play the different roles. And finally, the roadmaps and the task force. And I love this word because we don't want to finish this great week with like great discussions and best practice sharing without agreeing on task forces that will work on specific roadmaps for specific deliverables. Now, let me move the mic right now to a lady who's playing a major role, and whenever things really go wrong in our region, we still look up to the Arab League. We always believe that this is the place that's going to bring us together. We have so many things in common. That's where the real commonality and the real alignment and the real one goal, apart from any kind of differentiating elements, lies in the Arab world. And people who know what the Arab League is actually doing, it's doing a major role apart from the political side. It's providing real value on the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, let's listen to Jamila Matta, Director of Energy Department, the League of Arab States.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It gives me great pleasure to participate in the activities of meetMED Week. Please allow me to extend a warm thank you to the organizers for granting me the opportunity to share with you my views on what is happening in our region with regards to energy, especially energy transition. As you all might know, the League of Arab States is a regional intergovernmental organization that continuously strives to coordinate to best serve its member state, as the global challenges have left us with no choice but to maximize the efforts to utilize our region's natural resources. The concept of energy transition is well noted, and we try to cope with it in a manner that respects diversity and accommodates the needs for every Arab country. As for the Arab Ministerial Council for Electricity, we are pursuing this based on 4 major pillars. The first one is switching energy supplies to renewable energy sources and energy efficiency. There is no doubt that renewable energy resources and energy efficiency activities have witnessed many developments in our region. The Pan-Arab Strategy for Sustainable Energy 2030 gradually moving towards competitive market operations. The MOU has gained a lot of momentum and made several key achievements, such as the development of governance documents for establishing the market, development of an electricity planning model to identify key trade corridors and quantify the benefits from trade, and developing a pricing mechanism for trade. The ultimate goal is to achieve a fully integrated Arab regional market with an interconnected and synchronized electricity network by 2038. In addition to encouraging public and private investment in large projects in the field of electricity generation and transmission of regional importance. The pilot program for Pan-Arab electricity market functions and the pricing mechanism has also been launched as one of the important tools in establishing the Pan-Arab electricity market. Moreover, it is a way to verify the feasibility of the market on the ground by piloting it as a micro model in an attempt to address the obstacles that may arise during experimenting it. The third pillar tackles the way we use energy, i.e. to ensure that energy consumption revolves around electricity. According to a recent report issued by IRENA, by 2050, electricity will be the main energy carrier with over 50% direct share of total final energy use, up from 21% today. By 2050, 90% of total electricity needs will be supplied by renewables, followed by 6% from natural gas and the remaining from nuclear. In this regard, a lot of attention has been directed towards topics like e-mobility and water desalination using clean energy resources during the Ministerial Council meetings. The fourth pillar, ladies and gentlemen, is related to the increase in awareness about climate change and the rising demand for using environmentally friendly energy sources. Green hydrogen has a good opportunity to be the fuel of the future. As mandated by the Arab Ministerial Council for Electricity in its last session, the League of Arab States is in the process of preparing a study and a roadmap assessing and evaluating the potential of green hydrogen in energy supply for 2050. The study will be discussed in a dedicated brainstorming session with the consultant hired by the German government. Excellencies, friends and colleagues, we at LAS do believe that regional cooperation is one of the instruments that we invest in to steer efforts towards mutual benefits. And our event today is a living example of that, thanks to RCRI and meetMED. Thank you all and see you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jamila Matar, Director of Energy Department, the League of Arab States. Again, some great examples and keywords you've used over here. And this Pan-Arab electric network, and that's a great example of how the Arabs can work together, how the countries can work together and really deliver something. We've been reading about this a lot, and of course, you know that Egypt specifically had major challenges in the electricity energy altogether. Starting 2014 and 15, major change, and then we heard a lot about these Pan-Arab projects and working with Jordan and other countries. We're on the right track there. You mentioned something very important, the pricing element, and that's getting into the nitty-gritty details. That's where the problem usually happens, when you say that the devil lies in small details, and these are things that would really make the model work. The third thing you mentioned, my lady, is the way we use energy and electricity. This part about awareness, and we need it on different levels, all the way from governments and bodies and entities to individuals, and of course corporates, the way they utilize the energy. The best practice will be of great value over here. And then something it's a side element, but it's crucial in our part of the world, with all the challenges we have with the water resources, is the water desalination, what's needed there in terms of energy. So the needs are huge, and the challenges are big, and we need really to work together to reach these solid solutions together. Now let's right now talk to a lady that will tell us I know that there's a great example. I mentioned right now what the Egyptian government has done, specifically the Ministry of Electricity over the past years. It's a miracle in our terms, where we had a problem, nobody had a clue how to work it out, and then it worked somehow. So we do have the know-how, we have a story to tell. Our dear speaker, Mrs. Maha Mustafa, Under Secretary of State for Research, Planning and International Cooperation, Ministry of Electricity and Renewable Energy. Please.
صباح الخير جميعا. السيدة المهندسة جميلة مطر، مدير إدارة الطاقة بجامعة الدول العربية. سعادة السفير كريستيان برجير، رئيس وفد الاتحاد الأوروبي بجمهورية مصر العربية. سعادة القنصل قنصل الجمهورية البلغارية. السيد الدكتور جورجيو جراديتي، رئيس منظمة ميدينير. السيد الدكتور أحمد البلتاجي، ممثلا عن الاتحاد الأوروبي وبنشاطره خالص العزاء. السيد الدكتور جواد الخراز، المدير التنفيذي للمركز الإقليمي للطاقة المتجددة وكفاءة الطاقة. السادة ممثلي السفارات والهيئات الدبلوماسية بجمهورية مصر العربية. دكتور خالد حبيب، مدير الجلسات. أصحاب السعادة، السيدات والسادة الحضور. إنه لمن دواعي سروري أن أكون بين هذا الجمع الكريم في احتفالية افتتاح أسبوع مشروع الميتمد. كما أود أن أتوجه بالشكر للجهات المنظمة لهذا الحدث، وأخص بالذكر الاتحاد الأوروبي والمركز الإقليمي للطاقة المتجددة وكفاءة الطاقة ومنظمة ميدينير. السيدات والسادة الحضور، إن الطاقة هي شريان التنمية في شتى مجالات الحياة الاقتصادية والاجتماعية، وقد خبى الله سبحانه وتعالى الدول العربية بمصادر الطاقة الأولية، سواء المصادر الأحفورية أو المصادر المتجددة، حيث تقع معظم الدول العربية في الحزام الشمسي، وتتمتع بعض المناطق بمصادر لطاقة الرياح وطاقة حرارة باطن الأرض، والأخيرة لم تستغل قريبا حتى الآن. وكما هو معلوم أن المصادر الأحفورية ناضبة بطبيعتها، فتأتي أهمية التنمية المستدامة لتضمن الوفاء باحتياجات الحاضر دون المساس بحق الأجيال القادمة في حياة أفضل لهم، وتتماشى مع التوجهات العالمية الحديثة. وفي ضوء تزايد الطلب على الطاقة، فقد أصبح تأمين إمدادات الطاقة من القضايا التي تشغل العديد من دول العالم لحماية أمنها القومي. ومن هنا تأتي ضرورة تحسين منظومة الطاقة من خلال رفع كفاءة إنتاج ونقل وتوزيع واستخدام الطاقة بكافة صورها، بالإضافة إلى تعظيم استخدام الطاقات المتجددة لما لهما من دور هام في خفض معدلات استهلاك الوقود وخفض انبعاثات الغازات المسببة للاحتباس الحراري لمجابهة التغير المناخي. كما صار التحول العالمي في مجال الطاقة أمراً واقعاً كبنية تحتية لبناء اقتصاد مستدام، متضمناً معه فرص لا محدودة للتعاون بين الدول، وخاصة تلك التي تسعى إلى بلوغ معدلات أعلى في النمو، أخذاً في الاعتبار الفوائد الاجتماعية، وكذلك تجنب مخاطر الاعتماد على وقود مضطرب في أسعاره وفي تأمين الإمداد به. السيدات والسادة الحضور، يعد تحسين كفاءة الطاقة ركناً أساسياً في سياسات قطاع الكهرباء المصري، حيث أثبتت كفاءة الطاقة أنها أداة اقتصادية فعالة لتحقيق أمن الطاقة بتكاليف أقل من تكاليف إنشاء محطات كهربائية جديدة، وخفض حجم الإنفاق الحكومي في دعم الطاقة، بالإضافة إلى كونها أحد عوامل الحفاظ على البيئة والحد من غازات الاحتباس الحراري. وفي هذا الإطار يقوم قطاع الكهرباء المصري بالعديد من الجهود، والتي ترتكز على أن تحسين كفاءة الطاقة يعتبر ركناً أساسياً في استراتيجية الطاقة في مصر، حيث اعتمد المجلس الأعلى للطاقة استراتيجية وطنية طويلة المدى للطاقة حتى عام 2035 تتفق في أهدافها مع أهداف استراتيجية التنمية المستدامة ورؤية مصر 2030، وتتضمن تأمين الإمداد بالطاقة من خلال مزيج متوازن من المصادر المختلفة للطاقة وتعظيم مساهمات الطاقات المتجددة، حيث وصلت القدرات من الطاقة المتجددة إلى 20% في عام 2022، ومن المخطط أن تزداد إلى 42% بحلول عام 2035. وبالإضافة إلى تعظيم إجراءات كفاءة الطاقة بهدف ترشيد الاستهلاك في كافة القطاعات بنسبة 18% في نفس العام. كما اعتمد مجلس الوزراء المصري خطة الطاقة الكهربائية المستدامة للفترة من 2019 ل 2022، والتي تتضمن خطة النهوض بقطاع الطاقة الشمسية، بالإضافة إلى الخطة الوطنية الثانية لكفاءة الطاقة نياب 2 لتنفيذها في عدد من القطاعات المستهلكة للطاقة. ولقد اهتمت الخطة باستكمال البناء المؤسسي لنشاط تحسين كفاءة الطاقة باستكمال وتفعيل وتمكين وحدات كفاءة الطاقة في القطاعات الاقتصادية المختلفة، بالإضافة إلى برامج ترشيد الطاقة داخل وخارج القطاع لخفض معدلات استهلاك الوقود، وكذلك خفض معدلات الفقد الكهربي في شبكات النقل والتوزيع، وتوزيع لمبات إضاءة عالية الكفاءة بتكنولوجيا ال LED أو الليد على المستهلكين، بالإضافة إلى استكمال إعداد بطاقات ومواصفات كفاءة الطاقة للأجهزة الكهربائية المنزلية، وتفعيل أكواد كفاءة استخدام الطاقة بالمباني السكنية والتجارية والعامة، والذي يمثل نقطة الانطلاق نحو الوصول للمباني الخضراء. ولضمان التنفيذ الأمثل للخطة واستدامة متابعة تنفيذ الأنشطة، فقد صدر قرار السيد رئيس مجلس الوزراء بتشكيل اللجنة التوجيهية للطاقة الكهربائية المستدامة، وبعضوية السادة وكلاء أول الوزارات المعنية بموضوعات الطاقة المستدامة، وتختص اللجنة بتنسيق ومتابعة التنفيذ على المستوى الوطني. كما يقوم القطاع بتحديث الشبكة الكهربائية وتحسين جودة الخدمة المقدمة من خلال دمج مفهوم الشبكات الذكية في المنظومة الكهربائية، والتي تعتبر هي وسيلة المستقبل للتحكم في الطلب على الطاقة الكهربائية، لما لها من إمكانيات في التواصل مع المستهلكين والتفاعل معهم، بالإضافة إلى الاقتصاد في استهلاك الطاقة. السيدات والسادة الحضور، ولضمان توفير المزيد من الطاقة المستدامة وخلق سوق مشتركة للكهرباء كما أفادت زميلتي المهندسة جميلة مطر، فإن قطاع الطاقة والكهرباء يضع ضمن استراتيجيته مشروعات الربط الكهربائي لاستيعاب الطاقات الضخمة التي سيتم توليدها من الطاقة النظيفة، بالإضافة إلى اعتبار الربط أحد وسائل الترشيد والاستفادة المثلى من الموارد، حيث ترتبط مصر كهربائيا مع دول المشرق والمغرب والخليج العربي، وكذا ربط ثنائي مع دولة السودان، هذا بالإضافة إلى مشروعات الربط مع العمق الأفريقي مستقبلا. كما تم توقيع مذكرة تفاهم لدراسة الربط الكهربائي بين مصر وقبرص واليونان للربط مع أوروبا، بالإضافة إلى توقيع مذكرة تفاهم مع المنظمة العالمية للربط الكهربائي جايتكو بهدف تعزيز مفهوم الربط الكهربائي العالمي للطاقة حتى عام 2050. وباستكمال مشروعات الربط المشار إليها، سوف تصبح مصر مركزاً محورياً للربط الكهربائي في المنطقة. السيدات والسادة الحضور، نحن نقدر بشدة مساهمة المرحلة الحالية من مشروع الميتمد على المستويين الوطني والإقليمي، مع تركيزه المستحق على كفاءة الطاقة في الأجهزة والمباني ونماذج الأعمال المرتبطة بها وآليات التمويل. كما سيعالج المركز الإقليمي للطاقة المتجددة وكفاءة الطاقة مع الميدينير والبلدان المستفيدة العديد من القضايا ذات الأهمية الحيوية، كما سنرى خلال هذا الأسبوع. نحن نرى أن المشروع والمبادرات المماثلة التي تدعمها المفوضية الأوروبية كمنصات للتعاون والتآزر مع مبادرات ومشاريع إقليمية أخرى متوسطية وعربية وأوروبية مدعومة من قبل شركاء رائدين آخرين بما في ذلك جامعة الدول العربية ومنظمات الأمم المتحدة كثير منها معنا سيثرون هذا الحدث في جلسات مختلفة. شكري العميق وتقديري مرة أخرى للمفوضية الأوروبية والمركز الإقليمي للطاقة المتجددة وكفاءة الطاقة والميدينير، وأنا على ثقة من أن المشروع سيلبي توقعات وطموحات بلداننا ويدعم جهودها من أجل التعافي الأخضر وانتقال الطاقة النظيفة، كما أن مخرجاته ستكون مفيدة للإسهام في النقاشات المستفيضة التي يتوقع أن يشهدها مؤتمر الأطراف 27 الذي ستستضيفه مصر في نوفمبر المقبل بشرم الشيخ. أتمنى لكم تجمعاً ناجحاً للغاية في هذا الأسبوع المتوسطي الرائع، مما يمهد الطريق نحو مزيد من التعاون بين جانبي البحر الأبيض المتوسط شماله وجنوبه. أشكركم ولكم كل التوفيق. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Maha Mustafa, Undersecretary of State for Research, Planning and International Cooperation, Ministry of Electricity and Renewable Energy in Egypt. I want to thank you, my dear lady, for something very specific before we talk about the technicalities, and I'll say this in English and Arabic. I want to thank you for the proper classical Arabic language that you've used. أشكر حضرتك بشدة على استخدام اللغة العربية الفصحى بالطريقة صحيحة، لأن احنا دايما عندنا تحدي الأجيال الجديدة اللغة العربية عندنا بعافية شويتين ثلاثة، فلما نلاقي حد بيلتزم بقواعد اللغة الصحيحة رسالة جميلة جدا. شكرا جزيلا. Now, again, there were so many key words that are of great value for us. And the first thing is climate change. And sometimes we don't focus on this issue, but it's really attacking us in every way of life right now. And it's really affecting the life of our children and grandchildren in terms of non-stop disease and issues. And I think the more we care about the climate change and its impact on health and so on, that's a major challenge also. You mentioned the word infrastructure, and to build an infrastructure related to electricity, that's not an easy thing. It's a very big challenge and it's very costly. We know this. Sustainable economy, and this means that all forms of investment that are needed, it's not the tradition, it's not only by governments. This is where we really need to utilize the different resources available. Another issue you mentioned, my dear lady, is the energy efficiency and the benchmarks and the KPIs. And that's not something we've been using for many years. It has been a recent thing. And I sure hope that these benchmarks, there are global benchmarks. We need to be very close to them. Sometimes we always, in our part of the world, we say like, we're different. We always think that we're unique. So sometimes we tell everybody like, okay, let's start with a zero base. There has to be a starting point, and then we start measuring and improving on annual basis. Egypt has been going through a lot when it comes to this part of really intelligent utilization of energy. And one of the major problems that stopped us from any kind of management or benchmarking was the random areas, where we had over millions of Egyptians living in random areas. That's where another major project in the country right now, where the government has been establishing new areas, totally new areas, again, touching one of the main sectors we're talking about, the building sector, and moving families to these areas. I think that's going to have a great positive impact on the ability to measure everything related to energy efficiency. Now, let us move to another speech right now. That's a very special one from His Excellency, Ambassador Christian Berger, the head of the European Union delegation to Egypt. So please, Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
For growth and development, one that can generate economic development and improvements in people's lives in ways consistent with advancing environmental and social well-being. meetMED, a regional platform for high-level dialogue on energy, was established by the European Union to foster regional energy cooperation, focusing on sustainable energy investment, concerted actions on buildings and appliances, and monitoring energy efficiency policies. The main topics for our discussion are the European Union Green Deal, the decarbonization of the economy by 2050, and the reduction of 55% of emissions by 2030. What does this mean in real terms? And what does this mean for people? Supporting people requires understanding the challenges they face. And this includes energy poverty, a very complex issue with many factors that come into play, including low income, high expenditure on energy, and poor energy efficiency. 1 in 5 European Union citizens live in places of low standards. That could mean leaking roofs, damp walls, or rotting window frames and floors. Such high figures sound shocking. In other places in the European Union neighborhood, the situation could be even much more severe. Let's see how the European Union responds to such challenges. The EU tackles the problem through a mega EU program entitled the Renovation Wave. One of the basic principles of the Renovation Wave is to protect the right of everyone to have affordable, livable, accessible, and healthy housing. The program aims to ensure that energy performing and sustainable buildings are the new norm. And people remain the focus of energy policies. Low-income households may be forced to live in cheaper buildings, but what they save in lower rent, they risk sacrificing with their health and energy bills in low-performing housing, driving them deeper into energy poverty. Europe is looking into ways to achieve a successful transition that supports renovation solutions. This comes with EU support and citizens' engagement through better financing and better communication. Supporting people means empowering them. Knowledge is power. We must enhance the level of data and awareness of energy consumption to battle energy poverty. I'm sure that we find in Europe and around the Mediterranean inspiring cases where we can see the transformative power of what it means to have information on the energy profile of buildings, as well as the benefits of upgrading them. Egypt has done a lot in this respect through moving people living in formal areas into social building programs. The concept of sustainability must always be taken into account in order to empower households and improve their living standards. I'm sure that the European Union financial institutions who are keen on making the energy transition a reality can help exploring financial solutions for such actions around the Mediterranean. We have a long way to go. We must design our policies in a way that does not just improve our statistics, but transforms the way we live on both sides of the Mediterranean. With this, I wish you excellent discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Ambassador Christian Berger, Head of the European Union Delegation to Egypt. And I've been lucky enough to have lots of encounters with Christian over the past few years. We're working on different projects, always sponsored by the European Commission, European Union, related to technical and vocational education and training, related to changing the perception of vocational training in Egypt, related to definitely the energy sector. So many areas, the area is related to water management and irrigation. And the one key message that we get every time is that, from my modest perspective, for the first time over the past few years, the partnership is extremely fruitful for both parties, when both parties know exactly what they want. So it's not that any party is forcing on the other party their own agenda. We know what we're looking for, we know our needs, we know the challenges, and the European Union is there to really partner and provide what we're looking for. So that's, I think, one of the major things. Let me first thank, before we move to our other second session, let me thank all our distinguished keynote speakers for the beginning of the week altogether. And I think now is going to be time to move to our first high-level dialogue on energy transition in the Mediterranean region and the pathway to COP27. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Can you please leave the stage, and then we'll ask for the other guests. Or thank you very much. They can say, okay, if we have a type. Let me invite our guests to join the stage right now. First, Huda Alel, Director, OME. She's going to be with us online. And we have Mr. Mohammed Al-Husseini to be with us on stage also. Mr. Mohammed, please. And we might be joined with Mr. Fathi Hanchi, General Director, Agence Nationale de la Maîtrise de l'Énergie, Tunisie. And Cyril Dewalin, Program Officer, European Commission, DG NIR, that's also online. And we might have also with us Matteo Fumerio, International Relations Officer, European Commission. So I leave the floor to Mr. Jawad. You'll handle the discussion right now, please.
Thank you a lot, Dr. Khalid. It's my pleasure to moderate this high-level dialogue on energy transition in the Mediterranean region and the pathway to COP27. We have an excellent lineup speakers online with us today. Dr. Huda Allal, Director of the Mediterranean Energy Observatory, OMI. Mohammed Al-Husseini from the Union for the Mediterranean Energy and Climate Action. Mr. Fathi Hanchi, General Director, Agence Nationale de la Maîtrise de l'Énergie, Tunisia. Mr. Cyril Dewalin, Program Officer, European Commission, DG NIR. Mr. Matteo Fumerio, International Relations Officer, European Commission, DG ENAR. Please join me to welcome all distinguished speakers. Thank you very much. The Mediterranean region, thanks to its geographical position, can play a key role in the energy transition process. In addition, the rapid deployment or development of the South and the Eastern Mediterranean countries is the rapid development of the South and East Mediterranean countries is leading to a significant increase in energy demand and is changing the economic and energy landscape in the region. According to OMI, energy consumption would double by 2040 in the South Mediterranean countries, and electricity consumption would triple. Carbon dioxide emissions would increase by 45% of the whole region and more than double in the Southern Mediterranean. It is so necessary to cooperate in order to lead the region into Euro-Mediterranean energy cooperation, in order to share strategies, efforts, experiences, and favor the deployment of energy infrastructure and best practices. The impact of COVID-19, as you know, strongly affected the economic situation of the Mediterranean area. And now the current war in the east of Europe is going to affect also the situation further. And in this sense, the opportunity to humanize energy transition emerges as a key to achieve the climate neutrality targets, together with the need to focus on customer-centric approach, broader innovation, and more inclusive cooperation. The next COP27 is going to take place, as you know, in Sharm el-Sheikh this year in November, and it will be a great opportunity not only for Egypt, but also for all the countries of the Mediterranean to showcase their efforts in mitigation and adaptation and their steps in energy transition. Energy transition, as you know, extends well beyond climate change to jobs creation and also economic growth. Mediterranean countries face some of the same and some different problems compared to European member states. The political objectives are there, but we need the tools to achieve them. Energy efficiency, together with deployment of renewable energy, will be key to address climate change. The integration of renewables, also with hydrocarbons, can play an important role in southern Mediterranean countries. Without further delay, I'm going to give the floor to our distinguished panelists. I would maybe ask a question to start with. Many of our Mediterranean region think that we need energy transition laws with long-term goals for renewable energy and energy efficiency, and that we need energy subsidy reforms, also enabling framework to mobilize private finance, as well as independent energy regulators and a more regionally integrated market. From your experience or perspective, what do you think is the next big milestone for the energy transition in the Mediterranean region? And what do you think is needed to get there? And also, what is, in your opinion, would be the targets, the priorities, or rather the messages to give to the Mediterranean countries in the COP27? Thank you very much. The floor is yours, Dr. Huda. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Sabah al-khair. Good morning, everyone. So I'm very happy. Thank you to.
We don't hear you. If you
do you hear us? Maybe. No. Do you hear me? You don't hear me? Hello?
We'll try to fix this. Sorry, Dr. Huda, we'll try to fix it quickly. Is it okay?
My colleagues at Zoom, so we can make it among ourselves. Do you hear me?
Could you please check, Dr. Huda, if you are not unmute?
No, I'm not. My colleagues at in Zoom hear me.
We don't hear you yet.
They
Let's check if the problem is from our side or from your side.
Yes, it is. Oui, mais Zoom m'entend et en salle, non. Do you hear me? Ah, on the English channel, let's say. But muted in the others. Okay.
Otherwise, if you don't mind, Dr. Huda, we can maybe give the floor to Mohammed Husseini, who is with us today here. And then
I think you will have the same problem, but it's
problem.
okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So we give the floor to Mr. Mohammed Husseini, representing the Union for the Mediterranean Energy and Climate Action Department. Thanks, Mohammed Husseini, for being with us. Thank you very much.
صباح الخير. أنا سعيد بوجودي النهارده معاكم، وبشكر طبعا دكتور جواد وريكري وميدينير على الدعوة الكريمة. أنا طبعا من الاتحاد النجم المتوسط، بتكلم المفروض كان مديري السفير جرامينوس ماستروجيني، وهو مدير إدارة الطاقة والعمل المناخي بالاتحاد النجم المتوسط. المفروض كان يتكلم واعتذر في آخر لحظة، فأنا بتكلم نيابة عنه. وهتكلم بسرعة عن الاتحاد، وأنا بشتغل خبير طاقة في الاتحاد من أجل المتوسط. فهتكلم برضو باختصار وسريعا عن دور الاتحاد في موضوعات الطاقة والمناخ. الاتحاد من أجل المتوسط منظمة حكومية بتضم 42 دولة، 27 دولة أعضاء الاتحاد الأوروبي، و15 دول جنوب وشرق المتوسط. منظمة طبعا بتهدف بالأساس لتعزيز التعاون والتكامل بين دول المنطقة، بما يهدف في النهاية لتحقيق الاستقرار والاندماج في مجالات فنية مختلفة. عندنا 6 إدارات طبعا بتشتغل في مجالات مختلفة، زي التعليم العالي، البحث العلمي، الشؤون الاجتماعية والحماية المدنية، المياه والبيئة والاقتصاد الأزرق، التنمية الاقتصادية والتشغيل، النقل والتنمية الحضرية، وطبعا الإدارة اللي أنا بشتغل فيها الطاقة والعمل المناخي، وهي المعنية بالموضوعات الخاصة بالطاقة زي الإيفنت اللي احنا فيه النهاردة. زي ما قال دكتور جواد وزي ما حضراتكم عارفين، منطقة المتوسط فيها تحديات كبيرة فيما يخص الطاقة والتغير المناخي، وفي أرقام طبعا بتعكس هذا الموضوع. المنطقة طبعا فيها ارتفاع في درجة الحرارة بنسبة 20% زيادة عن المتوسط العالمي. عندنا طبعا ندرة في المياه، وزيادة كبيرة في عدد السكان، وزيادة على الطلب على الطاقة، وطبعا في أزمة في الطاقة زي ما حضراتكم شايفين، وفي مشكلة في ارتفاع الأسعار. فتحديات كبيرة تشهدها منطقة المتوسط. في نفس الوقت طبعا في فرص موجودة لمواجهة هذه التحديات. أهم الفرص اللي احنا شايفينها كلنا هو موضوع وفرة الطاقة الشمسية وطاقات الرياح ومصادر الطاقة المتجددة بشكل عام. فدور المنظمة هنا ان انت تعمل تعاون وتكامل ما بين دول شمال وجنوب المتوسط لاستغلال الطاقات المتجددة وتقليل انبعاثات الكربون وزيادة التحول نحو الطاقة النظيفة وخلافه. احنا بنشتغل من خلال 3 بلاتفورمز أساسيين في موضوعات الطاقة. عندنا بلاتفورم خاص بالكهرباء، بلاتفورم خاص بكفاءة الطاقة والطاقة المتجددة، وبلاتفورم ثالث خاص بموضوعات الغاز. طبعا في البلاتفورم الخاص بكفاءة الطاقة والطاقة المتجددة احنا بنتعاون بشكل كبير مع ريكري وميدينير، وهم من اهم الستيك هولدرز اللي بنشتغل معاهم في هذا الموضوع. احنا طبعا عملنا اجتماع الوزراء دول الاتحاد من اجل المتوسط، وزراء الكهرباء والطاقة في المنطقة، كان في البرتغال في يونيو 2021، ونتج عنه خارطة طريق في فبراير 2022. الفكره الرئيسيه اللي احنا بنتكلم فيها في الاجتماع الوزاري او الاعلان الوزاري اللي خرج عن الاجتماع وخارطه الطريق اللي هو ضروره تحقيق الانتقال نحو الطاقه النظيفه. طبعا احنا مره تانية مهتمين جدا بالتعاون مع ريكري ومع ميدينير، والمشروع اللي احنا شايفينه meetMED مشروع مهم في المنطقه لتحقيق فكره تقليل استهلاك في الطاقه وتقليل الانبعاثات الكربونيه. الفكره الرئيسيه كمان اللي احنا بنشتغل عليها في الاتحاد من اجل المتوسط، احنا طبعا عندنا ستيك هولدرز تكنيكال اكتر مننا بيشتغلوا في الموضوعات اللي انا اتكلمت فيها، بس الفكره عندي كمنظمه حكوميه ان انا بحاول الاقي فرص تعاون وتكامل ما بين دول. يعني عندنا مجموعتين مختلفتين في الامكانيات والاولويات والفرص الموجوده، دول شمال المتوسط ودول جنوب المتوسط. في اختلاف كبير جدا في الاولويات وفي الفرص، وعندنا دول في جنوب المتوسط عندها طاقه لسه وقود احفوري عايزه تصدره وتستفيد منه زي مصر زي الجزائر ودول اخرى. دول طبعا شمال المتوسط بتتكلم عن ضروره ان احنا نوصل لنت زيرو ايميشنز عند وقت معين. في طبعا اختلاف كبير في الامكانيات. الفكره ان انت توصل لحلول مشتركه ما بين المجموعتين دول من الدول من خلال اجتماعات وزاريه، من خلال اعلانات او بيانات بتصدر بمناسبات مختلفه، من خلال ورش عمل. هو ده التحدي او الاساس اللي احنا بنشتغل عليه. فيحصل بعد كده نقل في التكنولوجيا، بيحصل بعد كده ورش عمل، فيحصل بعد كده يعني حوار ما بين الطرفين بحيث ان احنا في الاخر نوصل للفكره الرئيسيه اللي احنا بنشتغل عليها، هي الانتقال نحو الطاقه النظيفه. شكرا جزيلا.
شكرا جزيلا استاذ محمد حسيني عن اتحاد المتوسط. بطبيعه الحال نحن في ريكري وميدينير سعيدين جدا بالتعاون مع الاتحاد المتوسط، لاعب اقليمي اساسي، ونتعاون من خلال المنصه الخاصه بالطاقه المتجدده وكفاءه الطاقه. شكرا محمد. الان نعود. We will come back to Dr. Huda Allal. I hope the problem of mic is solved out. Dr. Huda, do you hear us? We don't hear you yet.
Okay. Good morning again. Do you hear me?
Perfect. Yes, we do. Thank you very much. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. صباح الخير. السلام عليكم. So I'm very happy to be here with you. And again, thank you to meetMED, to the European Commission, to meetMED, to RICRI for the invitation to join this discussion this morning on a very important topic indeed. To the road to COP27, and we started already our cooperation with first with meetMED because we are the oldest organizations in the MED regional one. So OME, for those who do not know us, we are 30 years, we have 30 years of existence, and we are the Association of Mediterranean Energy Companies looking for promoted cooperation in the energy field in all energies. Between the companies and the countries in the Mediterranean region. To summarize, we are the partner of the energy transition, of course, today. I'm here with you today as OAB stakeholder, the partner again, also the stakeholder in the 3 UFM energy platform, which were presented by Mohammed, and we are acting as well as the secretariat of the gas platform. To reply to your question, I think that we do have all the elements of the puzzle, and we've been discussing many years ago what are the priorities and what we have to do. And I think that both the COVID and the crisis that we are living today is another opportunity to remind us that we need to act. We need to act because if we lose more times, we are going to really facing a lot of problems and troubles. Why is this? Is it because of, so today, the Mediterranean is 550 million people. We are polluting only some 7% of all overall CO2 emissions. And we consume 7%. So 7% of population that consume 7% of the energy demand and pollute to 6%. So we are not that bad by the end of the day, but we know that the Mediterranean is a real hotspot for climate change. So we can say we are not the most important in terms of contributing to problems of climate change, but we are the ones that are suffering the most of this problem. Another thing is that for those who do not know us, we do produce scenarios, and OME scenarios we do not take position. We only translate in figures what the countries are committing to do or willing to do or look forward. And we see what happened. And again, we have 30 years of experience now, and we see what is happening. Today, if we go business as usual, meaning that we will follow the unconditional NDCs, though the countries are updating them, we will have really big problems. Why is this? For two reasons. As you said, we are going in the South Mediterranean countries more to double the energy demand. The electricity demand will of course increase to almost three times by 2050. And the bad news is not only with regards to climate change, because the South will be more than doubling its CO2 emission, but in terms of energy security. The problem with energy security is that today in Europe, whatever the trend is, we reach or we don't reach the Green Deal objectives, energy demand is going to decrease, CO2 emissions are going to decrease. Behind is the population that by 2050 will even reduce as compared to today. But in the South Mediterranean countries, we expect more than 140 million people to come. So not only we are starting from a situation where energy demand by capita, electricity demand by capita is lower as compared to the North, but only all these people that are coming need energy, needs building. And here why building is one of the most crucial where we have a potential for energy efficiency. So I said we have two problems: a hotspot, climate change, and energy security. We have other paths. We have what the countries have announced as conditional NDCs, means that they can do better if they have financing for climate. But we've been looking at a third scenario within the framework of the UFM platforms and with the support of the European Commission, to see what would a decarbonizing scenario look like. And of course, as you can imagine, within this scenario, we will reach by 2060 the decarbonization of the South. One of the most important elements is energy efficiency. Energy efficiency and energy efficiency in the building sector, in the transport sector, can make a big difference. So if we go for such a scenario, we have seen that we will reduce substantially CO2 emissions. We will become even a net exporter. So from having big trouble in becoming importer, and for today, to give you just an illustration, today the South Med is net importer by 10%. Okay, but if we go to the decarbonizing scenario, we will become net exporter. But if we go to the scenario in which we go unconditional NDCs, we will move from 10 to more than 37% of energy dependence. So this is really a big problem again, in addition to the problem of CO2 emissions. So building sector is crucial. And of course, going to more decarbonized sector means also more electrification. So this is, the electrification will be higher. Renewable energies, this is the easiest to decarbonize is the electricity sector. So we expect that we can reach up to 72% of electricity produced by renewables. And I do agree with what we've heard, that renewables, gas will play a crucial role. But in any case, energy efficiency is the number one if we wish to go ahead with a successful energy transition. And 50% of the CO2 emission can be avoided thanks to energy efficiency. And again, this is to appliance. But again, we have, in my opinion, the whole ingredients. We know, we've been discussing this with medener also for a while. So we need to put the elements of the puzzle in the right way in order to have a nice picture. Of course, there are a lot of progress that have been made because you've been speaking about the conditions we know, the institutional subsidies. So we see that a lot of issues have been taken into consideration by the countries and happening, but we need to accelerate. I would say that the good news as compared to the past, when we've been discussing this, energy efficiency used to have a big among the barriers was to say, we have difficulties in financing energy efficiency. Of course, it has a cost, but it was much more difficult. Today, we are in a better shape. So today, the financing green is getting momentum. So at least we have this inside and in the good side, I would say. So let's make things happen. Let's make things happen, because my fear is that once again, if we do not accelerate and if we let the new constructions and the potential is in the south, the beauty, I would say, is that the potential is much more in not in the existing, but the new. So if we take into consideration the good measures for the new, so that we can successfully and with the least cost option, otherwise we will meet in 10 years if we are still here, and we will discuss the scenarios and we will be not in a good shape. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Huda, for this insightful talk. Definitely, we need to act, we need to accelerate. Energy efficiency definitely can make the difference in the pathway towards the decarbonization in the Mediterranean region. We will surely have many questions to you, but for the matter of time, we will pass directly to the next speaker, and maybe we'll come back to you later. Thank you, Dr. Huda, again. And now we pass the floor to the next speaker, Mr. Cyril Diwalain, the Program Officer at the European Commission Engineer. Mr. Cyril, are you with us? Mr. Cyril, do you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we do. Yes,
yes,
we do.
good afternoon. Thank you very much. So first of all, it's a pleasure to be part of this opening session of the meetMED week, and I would like to first start the organizers of this event, so the meetMED, the RICRI and MEDENER Association. I would also like to thank the participants and also the previous speakers who have very brightly highlighted the emergency of acting. So I will not spend time in repeating this point. I mean, we indeed talk about clean energy transition, but we should talk about how to accelerate, how to fasten this clean energy transition. And I would very briefly talk about what the EU does in terms of cooperation on this energy sector with the southern neighborhood. And to start with, I would briefly recall an important communication that was published last year by the European Union, which is the renewed partnership with the southern neighborhood. It's a document that you can find on the internet, which highlighted the very priority objectives of the EU in its partnership with southern neighbor country on numerous domains. And of course, on the energy side, there is a specific chapter on that. What are the key priority objectives that the EU seeks to obtain with its partner countries? There are four. The first one is a massive deployment of renewable energy and clean hydrogen production. Second one is a strong interconnection of electricity systems in a perspective of regional integration. The third one is the energy efficiency effort and measures in all the key, let's say, sectors of the economy. And there is a strong, let's say, there is a specific mention in document on building and appliances. And the fourth one is supporting policies that address fugitive emissions from fossil fuel production, transport, and use. So the document also highlights, of course, the important need of interdependency of energy policies between the EU and its southern neighbor country, and the key importance of energy security of the partner countries. So what are, let's say, the key focuses of our cooperation? Of course, the access to secure, sustainable, affordable, and reliable energy to the populations, transition to competitive, low-emission, energy-efficient economies, regional integration, as I just said, and I'm very pleased that the Union for the Mediterranean was here today with us to talk about that, and of course, the promotion of economic growth and creation of jobs through new or updated value chains. So what do? We work with partner countries on improving the sector governance on energy. We also provide some capacity building programs. We try to accompany ambitious energy reforms, in particular the one related to the energy subsidies. We also foster transfer of know-how, of expertise, and also building bridges between the European companies and the private sector in the partner countries, which would be interested in building, let's say, stronger relationship and to develop businesses in the energy sector. We, of course, work on enhancing the regulatory frameworks, institutional frameworks, which are key, let's say, for the development of these 4 objectives. We try to ease the access to sustainable finance. And on that, I'm very pleased that my colleague, Cristina Casada, who's online today, will talk to you later on today about some concrete mechanisms that we have set up last year in support to the municipal initiatives on energy security. We promote, as I just said, but I repeated, integrated approaches. So the nexus water, energy, and food is central to any new development, new initiative which relates to energy. And we also embed in the thinking in terms of circular economy, the concept of resource efficiency. So not only energy, but water and any sort of other commodity. We try to foster research and innovation with other colleagues from the DG Research and Development. So in particular, in the development of hydrogen. We want also to focus on more distributed energy solutions. So next to the large-scale facilities that we try to incentivize and to support through the different instruments that we talk about in a minute, we also focus more and more on the distributed solutions. Of course, the importance of mainstreaming the gender equality and to involve the civil society actors in these endeavors. And here I would like to insist on a point that has already been raised this morning, the importance of awareness raising to population on what means energy efficiency. Very brief examples of what we do in terms of project and programs. We, for instance, work at the regional level on enhancing the regulatory frameworks with the association meetMED. We work on the possible better interconnections of electricity systems with the meetTSO association. We, of course, have a number of bilateral support in different countries, for instance, through budget support operations that are there to support major energy sector reform in different partner countries. We also work, as the meetMED shows, on enhancing energy efficiency in different sectors of the economy. Here we talk, of course, about building and appliances, but we also work on other domains like the industrial sector with projects like meetMED. And then these are granting operations, but since 2008, we also developed a new financial instrument, which is called the blending instrument, where in addition to small amount of EU grants, we build a partnership with international financial institutions that provide their loans that we can leverage these amounts to provide, let's say, a more impactful project. And through this instrument, for instance, we have financed the large-scale Ouarzazate solar plants in Morocco. We did so also in Egypt for some wind farms in the Suez area. But we also, for instance, worked with EBRD on providing energy efficiency in the industries through the project that today exists in the different partner countries that are called GEF, so Green Economy Financing Facility. So this is what we do with the blending. And of course, sorry, I would like to mention also the one that we are now drafting with AFD, Agence Française de Développement, on the energy efficiency in buildings, which will be signed this year. And this project will, let's say, build on what the meetMED project will work on in terms of regulatory framework improvement, institutional building, strengthening, and so on and so forth. So we try to build regional projects that we anchor then to programs of investment with international financial institutions. And the last instrument which we are about to launch in the coming weeks is a new instrument based on financial guarantees. The idea being that today we want to work more and more with private sector, not only in the partner countries, but also international private sector with international financial institutions, to try and bring their funding, I mean, to develop and to implement fast and impactful solution on energy, on the energy sector. The idea being that with our guarantees, we will try to de-risk the business environment so that it will attract more and more the private investors. So in 2 weeks' time, we will launch a first call for proposals towards international financial institutions on different subsectors, including one on energy. And we do hope that in the coming 3 to 6 months, we'll have some interesting proposals from international financial institutions to accelerate, I mean, this clean energy innovation in different sectors, being it on renewable energy promotion, being it on energy efficiency, or any other type of project, including interconnection. So I propose to stop here. Of course, I stand ready for any question. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Cyril, for this very complete overview and perspective. In particular, highlighting the importance of energy efficiency in building appliances, the importance of working with the private sector and international financial institutions in the region, and also the importance of water energy food nexus, etc., etc. So because of the matter of time, I will pass to the next speaker, but hopefully we can come back to you quickly at the end. Thank you very much, Cyril, again. So now we pass the floor to the next speaker, I think Mr. Matteo Fumerio from the European Commission, DG NR. Mr. Matteo, do you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we do. Yeah, thank you very much. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for giving me the floor, and thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here today and joining you as a speaker. I would like, first of all, to thank ERCRI very much for the excellent organization of the meetMED Week, together with regional partners, Mediner. And indeed, it's an honor to be here. I would like to, of course, give a bit of a point of view from the European Union perspective, as indeed, of course, energy efficiency features very high in our agenda nowadays, in particular in the current context. I mean, the policy relevance of the energy transition agenda, both in the short term, but also on the back, of course, of the current volatile energy context, but also over the long term, with energy efficiency as a key pillar of our policy efforts to advance the climate agenda, has come to the forefront of our policy efforts, of course. In particular, lately, with our new REPowerEU communication, in light of the geopolitical situation, this is a structural change for us in the energy outlook and in our policy priorities, with a view to reducing basically the existing energy dependencies and ensure stronger diversification going forward. With the view to that, we are set ourselves the goal of coming up with an ambitious plan in close coordination with the member states by the end of May 2022. The challenge here is to reconcile the short-term energy security agenda and priorities in the current high price environment with an ambitious energy transition agenda that we have set ourselves in the Fit for 55 package. Of course, with every challenge, there are also opportunities. There is a need to reroute energy supplies, which for us is of course a steep challenge, but also an opportunity to deepen energy value chains with regional partners, in particular in the Mediterranean, and also, of course, further accelerate the energy transition as a key energy security measure. So advancing on an ambitious energy efficiency agenda for us is more urgent than ever. As we highlight in the REPowerEU communication, energy efficiency first principle is now more relevant than ever and should be applied across all sectors and policy, also with demand response measures complementing those on the supply side. In the new geopolitical and energy market, we are required indeed to drastically accelerate the clean energy transition and develop a resource-efficient, socially just, resilient, and climate-neutral economy. So what are we doing on the EU side? We have set ourselves an ambitious objective to decarbonize the economy by 2050, with an emissions reduction target, an interim basis by 2030 to reduce by at least 55% our emissions as a balanced, realistic, and prudent pathway to climate neutrality. Our climate target plan stresses that indeed to achieve the 55% reduction target, there is a need to significantly step up energy efficiency efforts by the interim target of 2030. In this regard, we have put forward recently proposals for recast of our energy efficiency directive to increase our ambition, align it with the climate target plan, and indeed step up energy efficiency efforts at the EU level and at the national level. Combustion of fuels is responsible for most of the largest majority of our greenhouse gas emissions, 75%. So reducing its use, reducing energy use is a vital element, even more so in the current context, along with decarbonizing energy supplies. Efficient use of energy is key to achieve the European Green Deal objectives, and it is a precondition for decarbonization. As indicated indeed by Repower EU, the full implementation of the Commission's Fit for 55 proposals will already reduce our annual fossil gas consumption by 30%, which is equivalent to 100 billion cubic meters by 2030. Besides climate sustainability and improved air quality and environmental sustainability, an ambitious energy efficiency agenda for us is also a source of multiple benefits for businesses and society at large in terms of reduced energy costs, increased productivity and competitiveness, stronger energy security, increased investment and green employment opportunities in the energy efficiency sector, and stronger reliance to possible, stronger resilience to possible spikes in energy prices. So the energy efficient agenda has clearly gained promises, also in clean energy agendas worldwide. In the most recent estimates, the Energy Efficiency 2021 report from the International Energy Agency indicates that indeed energy efficiency related spending makes up 2/3 of the total clean energy recovery packages globally, with public resources committed by governments to energy efficiency investments in total accounting to 270 billion euros globally in 2020. So concrete efficiency measures and investments are particularly relevant for buildings, which are, of course, big consumers of energy for heating, cooling, ventilation, or lighting. Not only in the Northern Hemisphere, but also, of course, in the Southern Mediterranean. Throughout the world also, where increasing temperatures, also in the south, and heat waves also in the north, make cooling more and more important. Associated to that, as highlighted also by other speakers, demographic growth, urbanization, climate change increases are also contributing factors to increase cooling needs in the Mediterranean, and ambitious policies for cooling equipment efficiency and passive cooling through better building designs, as well as the use of vegetation to cool down cities and buildings, have the potential to entail an important reduction in the need for extra energy. Major energy savings also derive from more efficient appliances, mainly in the residential sector, but also more broadly in the tertiary and industrial sectors. With the EU having established one of the most complete and ambitious legislations globally with regards to energy efficiency of products, standards, labels, and programs for energy using and energy-related products, we think that we are best placed also, of course, for cooperating regionally and globally with our partners in the Mediterranean. Also, with the adoption recently of the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive, the Renovation Wave Communication, and a massive effort on the Renovate component of our national resilience and recovery plans, we see it as a strong basis for intensifying our international outreach on energy efficiency agendas. The EU's experience with energy efficiency policies is indeed an asset that we are, of course, very keen to share with our international partners. And in this regard, we look forward to continue cooperating with Mediterranean partners in the development of regulatory frameworks for minimum performance standards, energy labeling regulations, and support the development of energy efficiency policies. In this regard, we are also very keen to continue the work that is being undertaken in the context of the Union for the Mediterranean, building on the Energy Declaration from 2021 and the Roadmap Action on Energy. The policy priorities and the actions identified in the UFM Ministerial Declaration adopted at the third Ministerial Conference last year have become indeed increasingly prominent and relevant in the current volatile energy context. In particular, as acknowledged in the declaration, ambitious primary renewable energy goals driven by the Mediterranean region's high potential in solar PV, onshore wind, and increasingly offshore, and renewable H2 go hand in hand with the high energy efficiency ambition as a key contributor to the energy transition. We also see a key role for the UFM energy platforms in underpinning ambitious energy efficiency roadmaps and targets, with the UFM roadmap on energy as an excellent example of how energy dialogue and engagement with regional and national Mediterranean partners can lead to ambitious coordinated energy action. We look forward to building on the work coordinated by lead regional organizations and stakeholders and UFM member states, and on the positive outcome of the annual meeting of the UFM Energy Platforms in February. We need to maintain and continue the positive momentum to advance progress across the 16 priority areas, including those geared towards enhancing energy efficiency in the Mediterranean region. To conclude, with a view to the COP27, we see ambitious energy efficiency policies and coordinated action at the regional level as important contributions towards lifting the level of climate ambitions at COP27. This should build upon the momentum created in the Glasgow Climate Pact and deliver enhanced mitigation ambition with a view to strengthening NDC targets in line with the Paris Agreement temperature goal. COP27 hosted by Egypt, it will be indeed a key opportunity for the Mediterranean region to lead by example and send a strong signal on climate ambition and energy engagement and cooperation to the intervening parties. From the EU side, we're also fully committed to enhancing our adaptive capacity, strengthening resilience, reducing vulnerability through action at home, and through continued engagement and cooperation with our partners in the Mediterranean region. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matteo Fumerio, for this very interesting perspective from the DG for Energy. Thank you very much. For the matter of time, we'll pass directly to the next speaker. We have with us, I think, Mr. Hassan Al-Ajrabi from the Tunisian National Agency for Energy Efficiency. Mr. Hassan Al-Ajrabi, are you with us? اوكي تفضل مستر حسن العجربي. ما زال ما سمعوكش. تفضل.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. تفضل.
Vous m'entendez très bien?
Oui, très bien, oui. Allez-y, merci.
Merci. Tout d'abord, je vous remercie pour cette initiative et pour cette invitation. Et je réitère tout d'abord les excuses de notre directeur général parce qu'il n'a pas pu assister pour ce panel le matin. C'était prévu l'après-midi, mais malheureusement, il a un engagement pour ce matin. بالنسبة vous m'entendez? Juste, je suis très content, je félicite les organisateurs pour cet événement, mes collègues du Récré et de meetMED, dont je fais partie vraiment. Je suis très content vraiment suite au succès de meetMED 1, donc on est passé à meetMED 2 et on est là pour le réussir et atteindre des objectifs très positifs sur ce programme. Les collègues, je remercie tous les panélistes parce qu'ils ont pratiquement tout dit. Juste un petit rappel par rapport aux enjeux, aux défis que connaît la région méditerranéenne. À savoir, c'est la sécurité énergétique dans la région qui connaît une dépendance à l'égard des énergies fossiles. Également, le défi qui concerne la compétitivité économique. Cette dépendance qui se traduit au niveau des pays de la Sud essentiellement par une vulnérabilité énergétique marquée essentiellement par le poids de l'énergie au niveau de la balance commerciale et également le poids de la subvention destinée au secteur de l'énergie au niveau du budget des États. Le troisième défi qui est d'ordre climatique, c'est un défi vraiment commun pour toute la région du monde. Donc, pour relever ce défi, on a parlé pas mal de fois, c'est-à-dire sur ce sujet, dans les stratégies des pays, vraiment que ça converge avec les stratégies au niveau international, notamment celles avec l'Union européenne. Pour cela, c'est-à-dire pour relever ces défis, je suppose qu'il faut accélérer tout le modèle énergétique et la nouvelle vision, il faut accélérer les plans d'action au niveau national. Et à travers les deux piliers principaux, les deux principaux piliers, à savoir l'efficacité, l'amélioration de l'efficacité énergétique et également le changement d'échelle au niveau des énergies renouvelables. Et actuellement, on parle Il faut se lancer vraiment vers le développement des nouvelles technologies d'efficacité énergétique et énergie renouvelable permettant la transition énergétique et la décarbonisation à travers les différents de l'économie, à travers les différents secteurs. Si je prends le cas du contexte national actuel du gouvernement tunisien, comme vous le savez, la majorité d'entre vous, c'est qu'on a deux défis. C'est de réduire la demande en énergie primaire de 30% à l'horizon 2030 et également augmenter la part des énergies renouvelables de 30% à partir de la production d'électricité à partir des énergies renouvelables à l'horizon 2030 et un objectif climatique qui vient d'être révisé. Il était de l'ordre de 41% d'un taux de réduction d'intensité carbone à l'horizon 2030, qui a été révisé récemment pour s'augmenter vers 45% d'intensité carbone à l'horizon 2030. Et cet objectif, pour être réalisé, essentiellement, il provient du secteur de l'énergie, notamment l'efficacité énergétique et les énergies renouvelables. Également, la Tunisie elle a mis en place, elle s'est lancée vers une stratégie nationale de bas carbone, actuellement en cours de finalisation, et la mise en place de régulateurs du secteur électrique, et ce, en vue d'accélérer les investissements d'énergie renouvelable avec un paysage transparent et un paysage favorisant les investissements en énergie renouvelable. Si je reviens un peu en arrière par rapport au HLPD qui a été organisé en 2020, avant le Covid-19. Donc, ça a été évoqué par les collègues, tous les intervenants, la majorité des intervenants, c'est la partie relative au financement. Donc, à mon avis, il faut veiller à ce qu'il y aura une complémentarité, une synergie entre les lignes de financement qui vont être mises en œuvre au niveau national ou au niveau régional, et prévoir surtout de l'assistance technique et renforcement des capacités pour accompagner les experts ainsi que les institutions financières pour la préparation d'un dossier ou des dossiers d'investissement bancables en ce qui concerne les activités renouvelables et efficacité énergétique. Également, il y a des problèmes relatifs au taux élevé du coût d'investissement, le taux d'intérêt au taux de sortie, à travers cette assistance, une assistance technique pour l'accompagnement des lignes qui va favoriser également ou donner une bonification à ces taux d'intérêt et encourager, faciliter ces investissements. Également, toutefois, il ne faut pas oublier tout ce qui est campagne de sensibilisation et de communication pour encourager ou accéder à ces lignes de financement au niveau national et même au niveau régional. Toutefois, et vu qu'on vit, c'est-à-dire actuellement, on vit une mutation du paysage mondial, donc à savoir à travers la COVID-19, la guerre en Ukraine et également prochainement la mise en place, c'est-à-dire l'entrée en vigueur de la taxe carbone qui va vraiment peut-être bien empêcher les exportations des pays de la rive sud, je citerai essentiellement. Donc, il faut se préparer pour ces points-là, également prendre en considération pour favoriser un climat favorable ou pour atteindre les objectifs de la transition énergétique au niveau national et également pour contribuer à l'atteinte des objectifs au niveau de la région méditerranéenne et de la région MENA d'une façon générale. Je vous remercie, c'était très court. C'était aujourd'hui que je me suis préparé pour ça. Donc, on est là ouvert. Il y a pas mal de choses à partager ensemble. Surtout, je reviens sur le citré, sur les nouvelles technologies et la décarbonisation des économies à travers différents secteurs, à travers les technologies hydrogène et mobilité, et pour l'efficacité énergétique à travers les bâtiments et les équipements électroménagers. Ce sont des thématiques qui restent toujours d'actualité, qui restent une nécessité, une obligation pour les aborder et pour les accélérer, donner beaucoup d'importance à ces thématiques-là. Et toujours, il faut travailler en synergie, que ce soit à travers la stratégie de l'Union européenne et que ce soit à travers les stratégies nationales et de meetMED et du RECRE pour atteindre ces objectifs-là. Je souhaite à la fin, c'est-à-dire bonne chance pour mes collègues de meetMED, pour mes collègues du RECRE. Nous sommes toujours à votre côté pour contribuer à l'atteinte des objectifs fixés par le projet et pour atteindre un objectif très positif de transition énergétique dans la région. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup, c'est Hassan, pour cette intervention portant sur les efforts de la Tunisie vis-à-vis de la transition énergétique et vis-à-vis des accords de Paris. Merci beaucoup, mais par manque de temps, on est un peu en retard par rapport à l'agenda. Donc, je vais passer la parole aux dernières interventions. L'ingénieur Maha veut intervenir, donner un peu les perspectives de l'Égypte vis-à-vis de la transition énergétique et les engagements de Paris. Merci.
صباح الخير. لو تسمحوا لي يعني في لمحة بسيطة كده نقول تجربة مصر في الانتقال الطاقي والطاقات المتجددة وكفاءة الطاقة. زي ما قال دكتور خالد في المقدمة، فعلا مصر عدت بتحديات رهيبة في مجال الكهرباء من سنة 2014 نتيجة بعض عدم الاستقرار اللي كان في المنطقة. كنا وصلنا في يوم من الأيام إن كان في نقص في الطاقة لحد 6000 ميجا، يعني رقم رهيب جدا، وكانت بيحصل انقطاعات في الكهرباء بالأيام في بعض المناطق وبالساعات في المدن الرئيسية. الحقيقة الكلمة اللي قالها الزملاء في المداخلات السابقة اللي هو الانرجي سيكيورتي، الأمن الطاقي، وبالتالي الدولة قالت لفظ إن الطاقة أمن قومي، وأخذت على عاتقها إن هي تحل المشكلة من خلال صدور بعض التشريعات والقوانين واللوائح. يعني بمنتهى البساطة طلع قانون كهرباء جديد فتح الباب قدام القطاع الخاص للاشتراك في إنشاء المحطات، توليد المحطات، شركات توزيع قطاع خاص، يعني وفتح وبقى في مواد خاصة بالطاقات المتجددة، مواد خاصة بكفاءة الطاقة. فتح المجال إن يبقى في رؤية جديدة لهذا الانتقال الطاقي. ابتدينا اشتغلوا بالتوازي إن هم خصصوا قطع أراضي تفوق 7600 كيلو متر مربع لمشروعات الطاقات المتجددة. خليني أقول إن المساحة دي فيها بوتنشال حوالي 90 جيجا وات طاقات متجددة، 55 جيجا شمسي، 35 جيجا رياح، وعندنا أسرع منطقة فيها سرعات رياح، وعندنا السطوع الشمسي عالي جدا، فبيدي كفاءة للمحطات دي إنها تتعمل. وبالفعل اشتغلوا في الاتجاهين، ابتدوا يطلعوا تشريعات جديدة وآليات جديدة لطرح هذه المشروعات من خلال القطاع الخاص، سواء الفيدن تاريف أو بنظام البي او. على سبيل المثال، هدي مثال واحد عشان الوقت، محطة بنبان الشمسية اللي في أسوان حوالي 1500 ميجا، تعتبر رابع محطة على مستوى العالم كمحطة في مكان واحد، بيسبقها محطة في الصين ومحطتين في الهند. المحطة دي قدرنا من خلالها جذب 32 مستثمر من القطاع الخاص، مول المحطات، الصناديق اللي بتمول القطاع الخاص في مع شركاء التنمية زي الEBRD، الIFC، بروباركو. الحقيقة دي تعتبر نموذج للقطاع الخاص والانتقال الطاقي. المحطة دي لو اتكلمنا منها على التغير المناخي فهي بتوفر 2 مليون طن كربون سنويا، ووفرت أكثر من 10,000 فرصة عمل في هذه المنطقة. الحقيقة ده مثال بسيط أنا حبيت إن أنا أديه للشغل اللي اتعمل في الفترة. النهاردة إحنا بقى عندنا مخزون من الطاقة، عندنا 20% إضافي، وده بيدينا نقطة قوة في الربط الكهربائي مع باقي الدول ودول الجوار. لو اتكلمنا عن كفاءة الطاقة، احنا بنتعامل مع جميع المحاور زي ما ذكرت في الكلمة اللي احنا قلناها، لكن الحقيقة أحب أقف وقفة هنا بسيطة. إن احنا امبارح كنا في العاصمة الإدارية الجديدة واتفرجنا على آلية تبريد المناطق المركزية. الحقيقة صرح رائع، وهو ده نموذج للتكنولوجي ترانسفير أو تبادل التكنولوجيا من بداية من الدراسة للاستشاري للتنفيذ، كله بخبرات مصرية، إن هو يقدر يغطي مساحة تفوق 40,000 فدان. فدي حاجة يعني كانت بصراحة فوق الخيال، وأنا ما زلت لحد دلوقتي يعني منبهرة باللي احنا شفناه امبارح. وده يأكد إن الدولة يعني مصرة إن هي تمشي في اتجاه كفاءة الطاقة بشكل رئيسي في المباني. مش هتكلم ان في اكواد صدرت، يعني ان كل الخطوات بتؤخذ، لكن لا تألو جهدا من استخدام اي تكنولوجيا جديده او اي حاجه جديده. اللي عايزه اقوله برضو ان مصر كانت من الدول السباقه في اصدار السندات الخضراء، وده ادانا ايمج هايل قدام الدول فيما يخص الاقتصاد الاخضر. مش هطول عليكم اكتر من كده، ومتشكره قوي. شكرا.
شكرا مهندسة مها على تسليط الضوء على الجهود الجبارة لدولة مصر في الانتقال الطاقوي. بطبيعة الحال بسبب ضيق الوقت أعتقد سوف نمر إلى الحصة المقبلة. وشكرا جزيلا لكل السبيكرز. Thanks a lot to all the speakers and thanks to all the audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for everybody. I know it's a very intensive day, lots of condensed sessions and lots of great information. We want to digest this before we go to lunch, so we're going to have a very short session right now. It's of great value. First, let me welcome somebody who's not going to be with us on stage right now. She's going to be in the later stage. We're going to be saving the best for last. So that's my special greeting to Mrs. Corina Viola. She's the activity A21 leader. So we're going to listen to you definitely in the following session right after lunch, inshallah. Right now, let me invite our dear speakers and guests. I got Lacombe, meetMED 2 project manager, Ademi, and also Mr. Ashraf Kredi, meetMED 2 deputy project manager. Can you please come on stage? And before we listen to you, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to share a beautiful video. And this video is about the project altogether, so let's see how it is. Okay, so I got the floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Okay, is it working now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour, tout le monde. It's great to put faces on email address, if I can say so. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, Egypt and Recre, for hosting this event, which is the first regional event of the meetMED 2 project, which holds for mitigation enabling energy transition in the Mediterranean region, in the framework of which we have this event. So my name is Agathe Lacombe. I'm the meetMED 2 project manager, and this is Ashraf Kredi. So maybe I'll leave the floor to Ashraf to introduce you to the first phase of meetMED, which led to meetMED 2. And then I'll explain to you a bit more what is the goals and context of meetMED 2 projects for the coming year.
Thanks a lot, Agathe, for the introduction. It's my pleasure to be here with all of you from the Mediterranean countries, and it's our pleasure to launch the meetMED week with these audiences and speakers. actually, the meetMED as a project was started in 2018. Once the RCRI and medener agreed with the European Commission as an animators of the UFM renewable energy and energy efficiency platform to move on in implementing activities related to renewable energy and energy efficiency in the Mediterranean region. So as animators to the UFM platform, we were both contracted by the or funded by the European Commission to work on the renewable energy and energy efficiency activities to support the Mediterranean members and at the same time to support the Union of Mediterranean platform. So we started the phase 1 of the project in 2018, and that phase 1 had 4 work packages. So the first one was focusing on the policies and the strategies. Within this work package, we worked a lot in supporting the member states in moving on the implementation of the policies and strategies from different perspectives, either at the targeting level or designing the policies, also the quality and enabling factor for the renewable energy and energy efficiency factors. The work package 2 of the meetMED 1 was focusing on capacity building, where different activities as designed and organized, tackling different perspectives and different topics in the field of capacity building and knowledge transfer from the north to the south, and knowledge exchange between the southern countries. The work package 3 was focusing on the private investment, private sector mobilization. And within this work package, and market analysis has been done to some of the countries, and investment enablers analysis was also concluded. We identified some of the investment areas in the field of energy efficiency and renewable energy to move on in the field of investment. The last work package was focusing on regional cooperation and regional dialogue. And within this work package, we had one of the initiatives that we launched with the high-level policy dialogue, the MED-HLPD, where we focused on financing or streaming financing towards renewable energy and energy efficiency projects. And also there were some major events like the medener conferences that had been done twice during the project lifetime. So once we finished the meetMED 1 by end of 2019 almost, so we started to talk about the meetMED 2 projects, and luckily we had the confidence of the European Commission as both RCRI and medener to start the meetMED 2 project in the beginning of 2021. And the meetMED 2 projects, where I hand the floor to my colleague Agathe to speak about.
Thank you, Ashraf. Asma, do you have the presentation I prepared, maybe? The slides? No? She's looking. No? Okay, never mind. I'll just speak. Yeah, so as Ashraf said, following the success of meetMED 1, meetMED 2 started, which objectives is still to enhance the energy security of the beneficiary countries, which all the flags are here. So Algeria, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Morocco, Palestine, and Tunisia, while fostering their energy transition and transition to clean, to low carbon economy. So meetMED 2 will act as an energy transition fostering project, doing the upstream work of policy support and raising the awareness so that it can activate more concrete actions and involvement and sustainable investment of the private sector. Thank you. What is it? Sorry. So that it can foster concrete action investments which could follow through. So basically, the main objectives of meetMED 2 are the massive deployments of renewable energy, efficiency measures. So it means regulation, energy efficiency building codes, and so on. And the other main objective is to raise the public awareness on the energy stakes and challenges so that it can increase thereby the private and public involvement in energy transition. So as we do the upstream work, we intend to find synergies with other regional and international projects as we do the policy support and the awareness raising and the capacity building as well. We intend to find synergy with other projects that could either finance, and I'm thinking about the PIB implemented by the EFD and the GIZ, or other regional cooperation to exchange good practices and information on such topics. So the meetMED 2 activities intend to do all this by including and acting at the multi-scale and multi-partner approach at the regional, from the local level to the regional one and to the international one. So our targets are the national agencies, the local authorities, as well as national institutions such as ministries, from which we have some represented today, to gather all these stakeholders around the table and to start on the same page to go to clean energy transition in the MED region. So the main outputs we hope to get by the end of the project would be on one side, so the increase of regulation and their harmonization in the region, the structuration of markets by deployments of tools and capacity building of the main stakeholders, the awareness on the financing instruments that are available, so increase the visibility of financing instruments to stakeholders, and of course increase awareness, because this is the starting point. And all this through close cooperation in the region, which is the reason why we are here, to meet and exchange and share good practices, because as one colleague said, it's a people project, and when we meet each other, I truly believe that it can foster the sharing of information and the getting closer in the cooperation. So I'm really happy to get the chance to meet you in presence here. But I still say hello to all the people who join online, and I hope the next events will organize in the framework of meetMED Week, which might be 2 other regional events in the coming years, will be the occasion to meet more and more. So thank you, and I'm done.
So thank you very much, Agat. And as we can see, it's going to be a very rich 4 days, lots of expectations. We tried something when we were working with the European Union. Again, they're doing a great job, as I mentioned earlier. I'm repeating this again. But we had something when we worked on Tibet, which was the WSR, the whole system in the room. And I think we have this over here. We have the whole system in the room. We have every, as you mentioned right now, Agat, we have every stakeholder in the place. I was happy also to see one of my dear friends and one of the young people who are really carrying a big responsibility right now in the whole construction and establishment of the new capital for Egypt. Mr. Haytham Atta is with us over here. He was telling me about the visit yesterday to the new capital. Everybody's here. We have the legislating bodies, we have the entities, we have the governments, we have the EU, we have the best practices, we have the different players across every area of knowledge over here, capacity building, and all the way until fruition and investment also. So I hope the 4 days will be of great value. We're going to come up with real products in the end. There's this famous movie I remember a long time ago in my generation, Jerry Maguire, where the guy was telling them, show me the money. So hopefully you want to see the money in terms of real tangible outcomes. I will not have the privilege to be with you the rest of the days, but I do thank you a lot. Everybody knows me in this country, knows I'm always linked to positivity and being optimistic. But actually, I would like to thank you all, because you gave me a great dose of positive energy, and looking forward to great outcomes of this event, inshallah. Thank you very much. I think it's now time for lunch. Enjoy lunch and come fully energized to go for the rest of the sessions. Thank you very much.